Bro, so this David situation keeps getting crazier, and I think there's no better indication of that than the fact that bro has finally lawyered up. I haven't really like seen any responses from him or any kind of like reactions from him, so this is the first like actual response that I think I've noticed from him. So bro, let's just get into seeing what happened.
The investigation into what happened to 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez takes another turn, but still no arrests or even charges made in connection to her death.
Okay.
That hasn't stopped David, though, from lawyering up. Is it because charges are on the horizon, or is it simply damage control for the 20-year-old musician? We're exploring the latest and where...
I would have been lawyered up, but also if there was a dead body found in my trunk, bro, I would have been in jail, bro.
The investigation currently stands. This is Inside the Crime, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Right now, it's still unclear how 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez died. Her body wasn't magically put in the trunk of singer David's Tesla. Someone had to put her there, right? But who? Either way, it seems like police are tackling on a new lead that could change everything that we first believed about this case. The death of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez has captured the attention of many. She was reported missing by her family in April of 2024, and the next update it seems they received about her whereabouts was a death notification from police. We already know Celeste's body was found decomposed in the front truck of singer David's Tesla in early September. Now, investigators believe it is a strong possibility she had been dead for a while. According to the LA Times, the Tesla was ticketed 11 days before Celeste's body was found. Even when tow yard workers brought the car to the yard, the odor coming from the car was so foul they called police. And while all of that is very, very gruesome, what we don't know is, though, how she got there. When did she die? Was she murdered? What was her cause of death? All of those questions are still up in...
Bro, the thing is, like, I'm not saying David did anything. Honestly, I guess it could be just as likely that he didn't do something as he did. First of all, no matter what happens, him dating a 13-year-old, 14-year-old as an adult, that's crazy. That's its own completely separate thing. That's insane. But it's like, how... If it ends up that he didn't do it, what is going to be the fucking explanation for how she ends up dismembered in the trunk of his car, bro? Like, it's crazy. Like, when you think about it, how this man actually has not been arrested. I'm not saying that he did it, but niggas get arrested on suspicion for far less, bro. It's actually kind of insane.
In the air. But given all the mysterious circumstances in this case, it's left a lot of people wondering, why are there no arrests? Could charges be on the way for David, though? I mean, officials did say Celeste's body was found in a car registered to him, and we did learn he hired a high-profile criminal defense attorney. The hire might be strategic, especially as there's so much speculation going on right now. First, you have the reports that Celeste and David were allegedly in a romantic relationship, even though she was still a teenager. Celeste's mom said that her daughter's boyfriend's name was David. Then you have the matching tattoos both David and Celeste have on their fingers. The fact her body was in a car registered to him. He was spotted in a resurfaced photo in Celeste's hometown of Lake Elsinore. He had unreleased songs where the name Celeste was mentioned. He posted a music video earlier this year of him dumping a corpse in the trunk of a car as he portrayed himself as both the killer and the victim. Is it too many circumstances that make up one big coincidence, or is there more to the story? But who is the criminal defense attorney coming to his defense? David has reportedly tapped Blair Burke to represent him amid the ongoing investigation. Burke is known for representing other famous faces like CeeLo Green, Bruno Mars, Lindsay Lohan, NFL player Darren Sharper, and so much more.
Damn.
Now, it's important to note here, David has not been publicly named as a suspect or persons of interest in Celeste's death. In a statement on Monday, a spokesperson for the Los Angeles Police Department said, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not yet determined the cause or manner of Ms. Rivas Hernandez's death. As such, it remains unclear whether there is any criminal culpability beyond the concealment of her body. So it seems like maybe the LAPD is looking into this case as a concealment. LAPD Captain and Commanding Officer Scott M. Williams told people...
Oh, like maybe she overdosed and then someone tried to conceal her body, not necessarily David. Someone allegedly tried to conceal her body, bro. I don't know. That is an insane amount of convolution, brother.
Magazine, the police department's robbery homicide division is still probing the case. He told the outlet, "We know that the Tesla has been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks. So it is very likely Celeste Rivas Hernandez has been dead for several weeks prior to her body being discovered. Captain Williams also confirmed LAPD officers conducted a search at the home where the Tesla was towed. On September 18th, about 10 days after Celeste's body was found, officers were seen recovering evidence from a rental home in the Hollywood Hills. The property was reportedly rented by David's manager for a whopping $20,000 a month. Law enforcement confirmed they did recover a computer and other evidence, but 2 days after the search, David and his manager Josh Marshall moved out of the property. David's manager did release a statement recently about all the speculation online he's been seeing about the case. He wrote on social media, quote, "This is the only time I'll speak on this matter, for now. This has been a tough time for my family as I am a father of 3 children. I received no emails and I'm no one's roommate. I live full-time at home with my wife and kids. My daughter is 14 and this news is affecting so many lives. I never received any emails. I had zero knowledge of anything and I don't live in California. Also, I work remotely 95% of the time, and my job doesn't require me to have much interaction with any of my clients / David, as there are many others that work with him on a day-to-day capacity, not me. This news is tragic for so many and for her family. I hope the proper authorities get to the bottom of it soon."
Bro, really trying to distance himself.
A lot of this is speculation and alleged.
That's fact.
In the meantime, I am with my family helping them emotionally get through the news of this tragedy. Please report on factual information. The speculation...
Well, I don't think anyone's reporting on non-factual information. I mean, speculatively, it looks odd. I mean, that's not, an insane leap in logic, right? Like, allegedly, there's a body found in the trunk of a car registered to him. He is allegedly having a relationship with a minor. He is allegedly, right? It's speculative, but it looks fucking terrible. Like, anybody's allowed to say that without it being liable. That's a fucking insane situation.
Surrounding the case has taken the investigation to another level. A day after the rental home was raided by police over in Texas where David's parents live, officers swarmed his parents' home after getting calls of an active shooting.
I'll go out wide and keep you covered. You want to tap the door? Just wait for me. Because I'm going to keep you covered. Go ahead. I got you covered. Come right here.
This is body cam? How did they get it so fast?
Dude, we got a phone call from here saying that somebody was dead. Is there somebody else that lives on this property that has your address? What's your address? That's it.
That's it. That's what actually
we got. We got an address. There was a gunshot and a woman scream.
What?
I'm serious. That's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller. Whoever they were talking to said that there's a person dead.
No, sir. No, sir.
Knock on the door. We need to talk to him. We ain't got time for this.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird way to respond to that, though. You might want to get to the bottom of it.
We got to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, like...
Okay.
They advised. We made contact. They said nothing.
Even if they're getting swatted, which could very well likely be, like, you can't really just close the door on the cops like that, unfortunately.
Up in here. She shut the door, and now she's calling 911.
That's clear. We haven't received a call.
I believe she's going to be in the process.
Go ahead, give them a call if you want to verify it. Okay.
I mean, they're just being cautious at the end of the day. It's probably scary. Like, I would be scared as hell.
Can you repeat, sir? Broken traffic.
Oh, that's not normal activity. If you were at the wrong address, they'd be concerned about somebody else. Like really? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they'd be trying to help.
Yeah. The response is kind of weird. Like, I'd be scared, but I'd be trying to figure out, what do you mean? Like, I'd be trying to look around, like, okay, like, did somebody die on my property damn near? Like, because that sounds goofy as hell. But at the same time, I wouldn't be suspecting getting swatted. I would just be really confused. So they just, like, immediately shut the door on them like that? That's kind of crazy.
Somebody called and said there was something. I mean, there was a person they called on themselves. You know what I mean? It was like, hey, there's somebody dead.
Someone's dead. Yeah.
That's why we had to take caution, you know what I mean? Wasn't trying to scare y'all, just...
They're being real chill about it, too.
Way off the roadway.
Like, both the cops and his parents.
So you just opened the gate and came in?
Yes, ma'am. I'll put it back. I have a gate just like it.
I can try to get my country.
Yeah, when it's something like this, when they say somebody's dead, their life matters more than, you know what I mean?
I hear.
I didn't damage your gate. I just opened it. Okay. Oh, it ain't on their phone.
And this is not a Texas.
Yeah, that's an out-of-state number.
Someone's messing with us.
Yeah.
Someone's
But
messing with us.
whoever, it would pinged here though, because wherever they call from, it pings and sends it to dispatch.
What the what?
So like whenever you call 911,
here?
wherever you are, it sends like a ping
It pings
to
from
that's how they know the address.
So then why do dispatchers always waste so much time asking for the address? Like if you've ever heard a 911 call ever, like the dispatcher will spend a minute. Bro, like someone could be getting murdered in front of you and they'll be like, what's the address? What's the address? If you got pinged, why are you wasting time asking for the address? That's insane. I never knew that before. But I always wondered, like, don't you have the address anyway? Like, wouldn't you be able to find me if the call dropped out of nowhere, if I got stabbed during the call? Yes. So then why do the dispatchers waste so much? I'm tight.
And this address came up to this number.
Yes, ma'am, that's where he was meeting. County to engine 42.
So is there somebody on my property?
They pinged it to an exact address, bro. That's
We'll check the property
crazy.
for you.
Yes, please.
So we'll ride around.
This
If
is
you
not
give me
in
a layout, how's the property? Like, does it go further? Like,
No, it doesn't go any further back. It's right here and then it goes
On
right
the
here.
fence, there was a gate here and the fence around, which is a private fence.
Well, him and I will ride around and check, and then we'll leave. You know?
Yeah, okay. So that was a false alarm. You see, I don't like this kind of thing. So if I really do have an emergency, then
Yeah.
okay. Thank you, ma'am. Sorry.
Well, if you do have an emergency, you know we're going to be here.
Okay.
We're going to get here.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, as you just saw, a total hoax. Nobody else was on the property besides David's family, and the incident was filed as a swatting prank.
It's just a
David's career
swatting
has been
prank. So
upended in light of
stupid.
the investigation, even though he hasn't been criminally charged as of this recording. He lost brand deals. His tour was canceled. His record label put a halt to release his latest album. But amidst the controversy, it hasn't stopped some from being curious about his music. His song Romantic Homicide, which was released in 2022, climbed the Spotify charts, and his videos on YouTube began trending again. With about a month into the investigation, detectives are still working to get to the bottom of what happened to Celeste. Her remains were released to her family last week. LAPD Chief Jim McDonald said in a statement, quote, "It is an ongoing investigation. We have a lot of resources dedicated to bringing it to a conclusion." And it seems like with this case, we're breaking down more and more updates each and every time. I'm joined now by attorney Melba Pearson. Melba, always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining me today. You know, do you think that David hiring a criminal defense attorney, do you think it's possibly more for damage control or possibly because criminal charges could be on the way?
Well, Elizabeth, always great to be on with you. And I think it's more of a preventative measure because number one, you want to make sure, as my understanding is that he is cooperating with law enforcement, but you also want to make sure you're preserving your rights and your right to remain silent. Even though you may be cooperating, you may also be incriminating yourself based on some of the
because they will, without hesitation, abuse an opportunity to use anything he says against him. So that's smart from like a preventative and kind of like proactive point of view.
So to have that attorney there to help you go through the process and advise you as to what questions you should answer, how much detail you should give, etc., is something that is a very good idea. And I would advise anybody who's in that kind of situation, heaven forbid, if you're in an investigative type situation and you may be the target, to have counsel to be able to preserve your rights. And also, secondly, counsel does play that role of almost that PR person making statements to the media, again, knowing the limits of what should and should not be said in terms of you don't want to say something in the public space that can then be used in an eventual trial if that happens at this juncture, but you don't want something you said publicly to come back to haunt you. So again, the attorney will kind of play that role of PR in some ways, as well as preserving your legal rights.
And what do you say to people who might think that hiring a criminal defense attorney, that big kind of word there, criminal defense attorney, is some kind of admission of guilt?
It's not. It's not at all, because at the end of the day,
that's your right.
Many people get investigated. Not everybody gets charged. So just because you are involved in an investigation does not automatically mean you done something wrong.
That's true.
Again, we're in this country, we're innocent until proven guilty. And it's the burden of the whichever state, the state of California, the state of New York, whatever case may be,
Prosecution.
to prove that you did whatever it is they alleged you did. So having a criminal defense attorney, not only is it not a bad thing, but it's also something I would highly recommend. Heaven forbid, if I'm in the situation, trust, I have my speed dial list of people would call, because even I as an attorney know, well, first of all, only a fool kind of represents themselves in a lot of ways. But secondly, you're too close to the issue. So you may end inadvertently making statements or doing things that may put you more in the frame than you even need to be. So it's just a good rule of thumb. It's a good practice. If you end up being involved in an investigation, engage counsel sooner rather than later.
And that's why during every single Law and Order episode I've ever seen, most of the suspects are like lawyer before even the first question is even uttered out there.
Exactly.
And you know, there's been a lot of speculation online, especially about this case, but investigators are kind of starting to believe this is possibly a concealment case as opposed to a murder or homicide investigation. What are your thoughts, and how serious is a concealment case, even though, you know, it doesn't stand out as much as murder, but in terms of just how serious that charge could be, how serious is it?
Yeah, so my initial gut instinct in all of this, not that I know David or him as an artist or anything like that, but it's one of those situations where if you've committed a murder, are you really going to keep the evidence, as in the body, that close to you? That kind of defies logic. So
Yeah, but people who do shit like this are usually not like criminal masterminds, right? Like, and I've watched a lot of true crime stuff to where, like, I mean, niggas keep bodies in pretty stupid places. Like, it's not like the most far-fetched thing in terms of like making logical next steps and trying to create logical conclusions. Again, allegedly, speculatively, but I'm just saying, like, it's not that much of a leap in logic. Like, maybe he didn't know decomposed bodies are gonna smell that quickly. Allegedly, speculatively, or whoever did it, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, bro, but I don't know.
Oh, that didn't seem to really feel like a true pathway or a true recitation of what may have happened. So my gut instinct was always, maybe they were partying, she overdosed.
Right, that's what I was saying earlier. Maybe, partying, overdose, which, I mean, isn't that criminally negligent, like manslaughter technically, because she's under your care. She's also a minor. So it's like, what, statutory grape. And so, like, I mean, that's still a bad situation no matter how you look at it. And then the concealment is just horrendous. I mean, that's also like very, very feasible what she's describing.
Something along those lines. Maybe he or someone else, moved her, and things just kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah, because because allegedly, speculatively, if he's with this minor, with a chick he shouldn't even be with in the first place, and then, she's doing drugs she shouldn't even, it's like drugs that are illegal, period. But then she's a minor doing illicit, illegal drugs. And it's like she dies under your care. It's like, man, I mean, if I'm not really thinking straight, for one, if I'm thinking straight, allegedly, speculatively, I would not even be in a situation like that ever. But like, I definitely would not be thinking straight if I ended up in a situation like that. So, I mean, I might do something dumb like that, allegedly, speculatively, and, try to conceal the body thinking like, I can't get caught doing this. But it's like, I don't know, bro. Allegedly, speculatively, innocent until proven guilty.
Homicide per se, that it was just a night of fun that went horribly awry. Now, was that the appropriate way to handle it? Absolutely not. And that's why we have charges like concealment or desecration of a corpse or something along those lines. And depending on the jurisdiction, it can be a misdemeanor all the way to maybe a lower level felony. So it's certainly not in the same realm as murder or attempted murder.
Bro, concealment of a body is a fucking misdemeanor? In what scenario? God damn. But like, bro, oh man, that's crazy.
Or anything like that. And I believe in the state of California that concealment is a misdemeanor. So that.
But then in states where weed is not legal, if you have it on your possession, you also get a misdemeanor. You're telling me smoking pot is on the same level as concealing a dead body? Get the fuck out of here, bro.
What he would be facing again.
Get the fuck out of here. Low level felony. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
This poor child in the trunk of the car. It could have been somebody else that was partying with them and decided to take the initiative and do something that was horrible and inappropriate, rather than calling, EMS, calling 911 or something along those lines. But there is the possibility that if it was a drug partying situation, they didn't want to call law enforcement because, again, they're thinking, we've got drugs in the house, we've got a celebrity here, this is all going to be a bad look. We've got a minor.
Like, I like how they haven't addressed that part of it yet.
The wrong way to handle it.
Yeah, and it's still so much in the air that we just don't know, which makes this case even more mysterious. And I can understand why so many people are kind of captivated by this case too. But Melba, in terms of being an attorney, especially if someone is in the criminal defense kind of sector, how difficult is it to represent a client when so many people have already rushed to judgment on this case, when no charges have been filed, no arrests have even been made yet?
It is difficult because our system is innocent until proven guilty, but the court of public opinion has a whole different standard completely that has nothing to do with law. So people may assume just because you're in a particular industry, you are a hip hop artist, or you're of a certain demographic, that automatically, because you have been your name has been mentioned in conjunction with something awful, you must have done it. And that's unfortunate, but that's where we are, which is another reason why
Well, to be fair, that doesn't seem like that's the case here. That's absolutely true. And I 100% agree with that. I might even go as far as to say part of what's going on in the court of public opinion is related to what she just said. But also, the evidence is absolutely shocking. I mean, just the circumstance, let's not call it evidence because no one's been charged of anything. The circumstance and the information we have is absolutely insane. Trunk of a car registered to him. They obviously have a relationship together. She's a minor. It looks fucking crazy. So niggas is not making crazy leaps in logics. There's insane paper trails. There's a lot of weird information out there. So it's like, I don't know, bro.
Hire counsel to make sure that they're here working in conjunction with your public relations team in the case of a celebrity, but trying to, again, preserve your image in the press and letting people know, listen, my client is cooperating. My client is horrified that this happened and had much affection for this person, or whatever the case may be, but kind of give that messaging that there's more to the story. And also, if he were in fact to be charged, you do have to consider that publicity going into the time, pre-charging and then pre-trial. And does that impact whether or not you can get a fair and impartial jury in your jurisdiction? You may eventually, if it ends up in a situation where there's a trial, you may want to have a change of venue, or basically move it from where the actual, the most of the press was, so that at least there'll be a jury pool of people who may be less familiar with the facts. But again,
that's also tough.
Depending on the level of celebrity, as we see with the Diddy case, it really doesn't matter where you go. I mean, you could go to the Pluto or wherever, and they would have heard about this case. So again, it all kind of depends on the situation.
Yeah, especially because, everything too also on that other end is so circumstantial, right? I mean, but it's interesting because I think there are just so many coincidences in this case where you have the matching tattoos on their fingers, that they might have allegedly been involved in a romantic relationship.
Speculatively.
Celeste was just a teenager. David is in his 20s.
Thank you. Like, let's address that part of it, bro. It's like the circumstance. Thank you. Circumstantially, it looks diabolical.
This point, but then you also have the fact that she was found in his car. There's just so many coincidences.
Bro, it's just like
that I'm kind of wondering, in your opinion, Melba, is this too many coincidences? Is this too circumstantial from what we know right now?
Well, it depends on the charge we're looking at, because we have to first off see what the medical examiner says as in terms of cause of death and manner of death. Does the medical examiner, coroner, say that this is a homicide? Do they say it's undetermined? Do they say it was an accident? What does the toxicology report say? You have the situation of whether or not statutory rape charges would be appropriate, but now you have an issue of proof because, as again, it's come to light that she's not pregnant. So who would be the one to really testify that there was an intimate relationship. We can speculate from matching tattoos and videos of them appearing together in live streams, but that in and of itself would not be enough to rise to the level of proving statutory rape. So we're now in a situation where we're really either looking at
I
concealment.
guess that's why it's so hard to actually charge people in court with charges like that based on evidence that's found in media, for example. And that's why the court of public opinion usually takes it upon themselves to kind of like dish out their own punishment in situations like that, because it's actually really hard to prove that anyone did anything just from like media evidence and stuff like that.
Or abuse of a corpse or something along those lines. Or now in terms of, was he the one that gave her the drugs that caused her demise? That's a whole other pathway that you have to go down and see who would be the ones to testify as to how all of this happened. Would it be friends, people in his circle? Will he be the one to admit to, yes, I gave her narcotics and I did not anticipate that her tolerance was so low that it would result in an overdose or something along those
It's
lines?
seeming more and more like it's probably like a concealment based on like what she's describing, probably just doing something you shouldn't be. She meets an unfortunate demise due to like everyone's negligence around her, the adults around her who aren't her parents, which is unfortunate. And then these people take it the extra step in terms of their negligence and just, you know, make the worst decision possible in trying to conceal what happened, which is, I mean, allegedly,
Again, lots of
speculatively.
questions that need to be answered at this juncture.
Yeah, so many questions that need to be answered. And I'm interested, too, to hear your perspective on this, Melba, about the reaction that David has been getting from fans, from people who are just now learning who he is, all of that sort, because he hasn't been arrested or charged. We do have to emphasize that very often here. But you're having situations where he's, you know, his career has been upended by this, even though he hasn't been named as a suspect or person of interest. His parents' home was swatted. Brands have stopped working with him. His album release was put on pause. All of these different things have been affecting him. And while the investigation should always be about Celeste Rivas Hernandez and what had happened to her, are you surprised about the reaction that David is getting, given that we don't even know if he is a suspect, a person of interest, or people are kind of already drawing the lines to murder, and that hasn't even been proven yet?
Sadly, I'm not surprised by the reaction he's getting. Many times we as a society rush to judgment, and it's very easy to believe the worst of someone. So
Even easier when the circumstance kind of leans towards that. I mean, again, not necessarily as far as to say he's a murderer, allegedly, speculatively, but the circumstance absolutely looks terrible.
you know, sadly,
No matter what.
people are immediately assuming that he was guilty. And of course, looking at the facts and the fact that you have, you know, this poor, beautiful young lady who was estranged from her family, she had gone missing, and now to be found in such an awful way, it boggles the mind. And the fact that it was his car makes people leap to the conclusion, well, clearly he's the one who put her there. Again, maybe that wasn't the case. But again, unfortunately, as a society, we rush to judgment. And I don't know if he's going to be able to recover the status he enjoyed before this incident. Maybe it might be a different path for him. Maybe he may get a resurgence in his career in the next few years. It just would have to, assuming that this case is resolved in a positive manner for him, maybe in a few years, memories would fade a bit, and then he'd be able to resume his career in some way, shape, or form. But I wouldn't be stunned if his career is over at this juncture because of the negative publicity and, you know, folks very strongly feeling perturbed, you know, disturbed by his connection to this case.
And we'll continue to see how this all continues to unfold because it has a lot of eyes on it. And I think a lot of people at this point definitely want to know what happened to Celeste, if somebody is responsible for it, who that person is, and will they be brought to justice. And we'll be continuing to follow this as this continues to develop. Melba Pearson, I want to thank you so much for your time and your insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
Thank you as always, Elizabeth.
And again, at this time, David Anthony Burke, or David, has not been publicly named as a suspect, nor have criminal charges been brought against him or anyone in connection to Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on this case as more continues to develop, but that does it for this episode. Be sure to watch more on the Law and Crime YouTube channel. I'm Elizabeth Milner, and this has been Inside the Crime.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. The situation just looks like really bad. It is what it is with that. The only thing I can kind of cap this off with is saying, like, bro, niggas have been arrested on speculation of far less, and I am interested to learn as the situation unfolds as to why they were so tentative in like persecuting David, basically, because it seems a certain type of way, and maybe they're waiting for toxicology, maybe they're waiting for other statements, testimonies, maybe they're compiling evidence for something completely different. I don't know. It'll be interesting to watch it unfold, but either way, I'm excited to see justice be brought to the memory of Celeste and her family, because I think more than anything, they absolutely do deserve that. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.